Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X. I hope everyone is starting off their Thursday greatly. We've got some great games out there on the ice. Now, yesterday, definitely not the way I wanted things to go. The Edmonton Oilers, yeah, they came out hot in that first period, but they weren't able to limit those goals, so they weren't able to cover that puck line. And Carolina coming out flat in that first period versus the Buffalo Sabres. We talk about the road inconsistencies. I expected both teams to score in the first period, just did not happen. So again, let's have a big bounce back here after just what I wasn't expecting yesterday. Only 2 games out on the ice, smaller slate, but huge slate today. We're going to kick it off at the 7 o'clock Eastern matchup. And again, we'll go over every single one of these games. I will do the recap at the end of the show. So make sure if you don't have time to stick around for the whole show, you do come back for that recap. I will timestamp when that one kicks off. So the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning is our first matchup on the ice. We have Tampa, one of the largest favorites of the day, almost a $3 or just over a $3 favorite, minus a 320. With the Anaheim Ducks at plus 255 and a total of 6.5. Now the 6.5 is juiced to the under at minus 118 to the under 6.5. And I understand why. It's because the Anaheim Ducks, this team absolutely struggles to score. They're only averaging 2.41 goals per game, and they've scored a total of 7 goals over their last 5. So you're really seeing that drop off. The thing here is with that total, and why I would be nervous to take it to the under, is looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, what this team is able to do offensively. They could get these goals on John Gibson, who is expected tonight. Gibson is 7-7-2 on the season with a 2.90 goals against average. That doesn't sound too bad. A 908 save percentage. He's lost his last 3 starts, and in those last 3 games, given up 12 goals. So not a goaltender I want to have faith in when I'm backing an under, even though I think Tampa's going to come out and win. Tampa's going to get the majority of the goals. If the Ducks get 2 goals, this could push us over that total because we could see 5 out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I do think there's a couple ways to go in this game, a couple ways that I'm really liking. First, I think with Andrei Vasilevskiy in goal tonight, as long as he's out there, I will be backing the Ducks team total to the under. Under 2.5 goals for the Anaheim Ducks coming in at minus 144. Problem is, you're going to have to lay juice there. You guys know I hate laying juice in these matchups, but you look at Andrei Vasilevskiy. He has allowed 2 or less goals in 3 of his last 5 games. He's 18, 13, and 2 on the season with a 2.33 goals against average and a 913 save percentage. He has been so strong out there on the ice, and I do think he'll get that support from the defense here. Now, the Lightning have scored 16 goals in their last 5 games. They've been rolling hot. They're coming off a loss versus the Boston Bruins. So off a loss versus the Bruins out there on the road. They lost that one 6-2. This is the first game home off a road trip. It was an unsuccessful road trip, you guys. So we look at those factors when a team's returning home, where they're going to have their struggles. And I know there's been struggles for a lot of these teams returning home off those road trips, but successful road trips is where I look to fade. Unsuccessful road trips is where I like to jump on a team getting back home. They went 1-2 on that road trip. And then they have to face the Red Wings on a Saturday, and then they're back out on the road on Monday for 4 games. So short home stance here, only those 2 games for them. I do think they get back in the win column tonight. Now, when we look at the Ducks, they have struggled versus Tampa as well. 1-5 in their last 6 meetings versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I can't trust them. The home team's gone 5-2 in the last 7 meetings between these 2 teams, and the favorite going 5-1 in the last 6. So when we're looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, I do think they can win this 5-2 style, 4-2 style game. First period puck line, I think, is a strong way to look in that first period, covering the half a goal that's coming in at plus 104. That's just because I'm getting plus money there. I like them to come out strong. The full game puck line right now, laying 1.5 goals, is -120. So you guys know I try to avoid the juice at all costs. I think they get up in the first period. I would look at both of those bets there. Now, Nikita Kucherov is leading the Tampa Bay Lightning on that top line, 20 goals and 43 assists on the season. He has 2 power play goals and 22 power play assists. So Nikita Kucherov, definitely someone you want to circle. Jake Gunsel coming out here, 21 goals and 21 assists with 9 power play goals and 3 power play assists. Nick Paul rounding out that top line, also 11 goals and 14 assists. When we look at the Anaheim Ducks, Troy Terry, we know how strong he has been out there for the Ducks, 14 goals and 9 assists, 3 power play assists and 4 power play goals. So that is how he is lining up. Ryan Strome coming out here, 7 goals and 17 assists. And Frank coming out with 11 goals and 13 assists, 2 power play goals and 2 power play assists. So that's where you're going with your playmakers. Braden Point, you could look at Braden Point. Is he back in the lineup? I just want to look at that for Braden Point because I know he was questionable for the last game. Let me just look at Braden Point. You know, I like Braden Point. I love Braden Point to come out nice and strong and be able to get those points on the board. Braden Point for the points, but we will see if he's still listed here. I'm not seeing him on the injury report, so we should see Braden Point out there. So it should be good for him to go. Happy Thursday to you too. Let's make some freaking money, you guys. Let's have a great day out there on the ice. Florida Panthers to repeat. They're going to have to get something done if they want to repeat. They've got a big matchup today versus the Red Wings. We'll get into that game. I'm actually thinking that we could see an upset there, especially in the first period with the Florida Panthers coming off of overtime. So let's first jump into the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets at home, strong home team. You know this is a spot we like to back this team. They're sitting, though, at -182 on the money line. So not within my range of juice that I'm willing to lay, +150 on a scrappy Sharks team. We know this team digs absolutely so deep. We got a total of 6.5. The 6.5 is juiced to the under at -132. The over 6.5 +108, which is really interesting to me. I do think this one can get there. I expect the Sharks to put up a couple of goals, but Elvis, he could come out nice and strong. So if Elvis comes out strong, the Sharks get limited. I think I just want to isolate the Columbus Blue Jackets team total. I'm expecting this to be the team that scores the majority of the goals, can get the win. The team total for the Columbus Blue Jackets is 3.5 to the over 3.5 coming in at -108. You look at this team, they have won their last 5 games out there on the ice. On Tuesday, they were able to get the win over the Flyers. So nice big win over the Flyers, shutting out the Flyers 3-0. If they bring that style of defense into this game, then we're in trouble with that total. And that's why I'm looking here at just the Columbus Blue Jackets team total. When we look at the last time Elvis was in net, he did stop 29 of 31 shots on his goal. So Elvis has been hot in these games, winning 4 of his last 5. So let's take the Sharks out of it. Even though they won the last meeting back in November, 2-1. The Sharks are still 1-4 in the last 5 meetings versus Columbus, and 1-4 in the last 5 meetings in Columbus. So I can't trust them there. I think Columbus will be able to get the win in this one and go over 3.5 goals. So at -108, give me the Columbus Blue Jackets team total. The Washington Capitals next take on the Ottawa Senators. Now the Capitals rolling in here as a short favorite on the road at -111, -108 for the Ottawa Senators. Total of 5.5, -115 to the over, -105 to the under. I want to stay off this total. I just want to look at the Washington Capitals to come in strong in that first period and cover the puck line in the first period. Laying a half a goal in the first period for the Washington Capitals here, coming in at +186. You know it had me at +186, you guys. I love that plus money that we're getting here when the Washington Capitals should be going against Forsberg in net tonight for the Ottawa Senators. Forsberg is a fade for me. Forsberg's had his struggles. He's lost all 8 of his last 8 starts, you guys, and allowed 3 or more goals in those games. He is 5-2 in 8 games versus the Capitals. So 5 wins, 2 losses. So he's been able to get those wins, but a goals against average of 3.25 and an 889 a save percentage. With how the Washington Capitals are playing this year, I struggle to see them not getting up fast in that first period. And I expect Ovi to come out nice and strong. Give me Ovechkin for the anytime goal at plus 140. He had 3 shots on goal in his last game out versus the Anaheim Ducks. 0 goals and an assist. He had a goal and an assist versus the Predators. I expect him to come out nice and strong. 20 goals on the season with 12 assists, 5 goals on the power play, and 4 assists. So sorry, just struggling to work out how many assists. I can't trust Forsberg in this one. That's what it comes down to. You can also look at Dylan Strome to come out nice and strong for the Capitals. 12 goals and 34 assists on the season, 16 assists on the power play and 3 power play goals. So the Senators have been trending to that under. They've won their last 3. Tuesday, they were able to get a 2-0 win over the Isles out there on the road. Now they have the Bruins on deck at home here on Saturday. They're at the Devils on Sunday. So hard weekend schedule for this team, a home and road back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. We face the Rangers on Tuesday, the Bruins again on Thursday. So hard look ahead spot. We do have the Capitals winning their last 2. They're off a win where they were able to get the shutout 3-0 over the Anaheim Ducks on Tuesday. They're versus the Pens at home on Saturday. And then they head out on a 5-game road trip to finish off January. So road here today, then back home, then a 5-game road trip to finish off this month. Again, this team's sitting first in the Metro. It seems pretty easy for me to take the first period puck line of laying a half a goal at plus 186 for the Washington Capitals. That's just the way I want to go. Okay, let's talk the Red Wings because I do think we could have a live dog barking here, especially in the first period. We got the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Florida Panthers. And yes, the Stanley Cup reigning champions here in the Florida Panthers at home are a minus 260 favorite. Plus 210 here for the Red Wings, total of 5.5. 5.5 juice to that under at minus 114, minus 106 to the over. I expect this to be a lower scoring game. We look, Cam Talbot is expected here for the Red Wings, Bobrovsky expected for the Florida Panthers. Look for that defensive lockdown. If this becomes a high scoring game, pond hockey, it's not what either of these teams wants. The problem is the Red Wings do struggle on that defense, so Cam Talbot's going to have to be Stella in goal. He's won his last 4 starts. He is 10-9-2 on the season with a 2.89 goals against average, a save percentage of .903. So we need the best out of Cam Talbot for this upset to come. I don't want to take the full game, you guys. The Florida Panthers are too dangerous. They're at home. They get that last change. So I'm going to look at the first period. First period money line here for the Detroit Red Wings coming in at plus 172. And then I don't give you know what I mean? I don't care what happens. I almost start swearing. I don't care what happens after that first period, as long as the Red Wings win that first period. This is a team that has been scrappy. They've won their last 4 games as an underdog. Now, we have the Florida Panthers coming off a shootout win versus the New Jersey Devils. We know that was a huge game for them versus the Devils. They got the 2-1 win in a shootout. Yes, this team can score. Yes, this team can defend, but we look at them coming off of overtime, and that's been a struggle for them. In their last 4 games off of overtime, they have lost the first period. Give me the Red Wings in the first period to come out strong and hungry. They're off that loss to the Sharks at home after winning 6 games in a row. We knew there would be that letdown spot for the Red Wings. I was thinking it wouldn't be until this game here. They lost that game to the Sharks 6-3, and it seemed like it was over before it even started. That first period, you could just tell the Sharks were dominating, and you had a Red Wings team underestimating a Sharks team rolling in, already looking ahead to their road trip and this game here with the Florida Panthers. Now, this is the first game of a road trip. This is a hard road trip out here for them. They will face the Lightning on Saturday, Sunday, the Stars, and then the Flyers on Tuesday. So definitely a hard place to be for this team. They've also struggled versus Florida. So first period, and I do lean towards the under in this one, the under 5.5, giving us that great plus money. Okay, let's move on to the next game, you guys. I'm seeing all your comments. Coming in, Tyler Toffoli, always a good price for Tyler Toffoli of the Sharks for sure. Yeah, 2+ points. That would be a nice look as well. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about him today on Twitter, which always scares me to jump in. Cashed a 4-leg goal scoring parlay. McDavid, Yossi, Roman Yossi, Boldy, and Hartman. Great to see. I am so glad to hear that you hit that 4-leg parlay. Let's keep going, you guys. We're going to tout the New Jersey Devils and the Toronto Maple Leafs. New Jersey Devils are the favorite rolling in here. The Toronto Maple Leafs are on a losing streak right now. They're plus 110 at home. The funny thing is about the Toronto Maple Leafs, they really step up, especially when they're listed as an underdog. The last 4 games versus Devils as an underdog, this team has been able to get the win. They don't like the disrespect. That's what it comes down to. They're at plus 110 here, but Tavares not in the lineup. So Tavares in practice the other day, he went down, lower body injury. He is now on the IR. Total of 5.5 in this, minus 105 to the under, minus 115 to the over. Now, Jacob Markstrom in goal tonight for the New Jersey Devils. He is 0-2 versus the Maple Leafs this season, allowing 6 goals over those 2 games. His save percentage versus the Maple Leafs this season is at 8.828. So it's not a great save percentage out there versus the Leafs. He needs that bounce back. He has been so strong on the season. I would expect him to do enough for this game to stay under unless this goes to overtime. And I do think the possibility of going to overtime is so strong in this one. Again, we have a 5.5. I do think it's a 2-2 or a 3-3 game. So I'm going to stay off the total in this one. I will look at this one to go to overtime. That's coming in at plus 290. But I do think the Leafs can get the win here. We have one of the best power plays in the country with the New Jersey Devils. But you look at them as of late and you look at what that power play has been doing. They've scored 1 time in 9 opportunities over the last 2 games. So they have had 9 power play opportunities, only scoring once in the last 2. I can't back them here. We got a strong kill for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That kill coming in at 82.5% of the time. Their power play is clicking, and it's clicking better as of late. So their special teams kind of going in opposite directions right now. Even though the Leafs have lost their last 3, they lost that last game to the Stars. I trust them here at home. Now they're at Montreal on Saturday, Sunday back home versus the Lightning. So they have that road and home on deck here. They absolutely need to come out nice and strong in this one. We have the New Jersey Devils off that shootout loss to the Florida Panthers. I think tired legs will come into play. This is a one-off road game here for the New Jersey Devils as well. Saturday at home versus the Flyers, Sunday at home versus the Ottawa Senators. This team, though, strong on the road, 13-9-1 out there on the road, but you do have a Leafs team sitting first in the Atlantic, 17-9 at home this season. Won the last matchup back in December, low-scoring game, 2-1. I just think the Devils struggle to score here in this game. And we see the Toronto Maple Leafs do what they do, and it's beat the Devils when they're listed as a dog. Give me the overtime bet at plus 290. Give me the Leafs first period money line at minus 104, as well as the money line for the full game. Next game on deck, you guys, we have the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Islanders. Now, juice priced here for the Islanders, but I do think they get the win. They're rolling in at minus 137, a favorite, minus 114 here for the Philadelphia Flyers, and a total of 5.5. Minus 108 to the under, minus 112 to the over 5.5. I do think this is a big win here for the Isles, and it comes down to Sorokin in net. This is a goaltending battle between these two teams. We know special teams suck here for the Isles. Like, I don't know what they have to do, but something has to get going here on the kill and on the power play. Their power play the worst in the league, only converting 10.5% of the time, and their kill the worst in the league, 65.6%. So if the Flyers have that opportunity on the power play, can they convert? This team is only converting 16.5%. They're going against Sorokin, who is strong out there. I don't think either of these teams will be able to convert tonight on the power play unless there's atrocious mistakes on the defense of the other side. The kill is stronger here for the Flyers. So I do lean to this game staying under that total, but I'm going to stay off the full game under. I'm going to take the Flyers team total. The Flyers team total under 2.5 goals coming in at plus 100. You look at Sorokin. He's got a 2-2 record in 13 games and a goals against average of 1.50 versus the Flyers. So I'm expecting him with that 1.50 goals against average, a save percentage of 949 versus the Flyers in his career to stand tall between the pipes. This is what he does versus the Flyers. So give me Sorokin for a big night. I'd look at his save shots on goal prop, but it's going to be a hard number because the Flyers don't put up a lot and the Islanders don't. They lock down. They're trying to play more defensively. So I'm pretty sure the books will probably be spot on that number at like 24.5. So we'll probably see 24 or 25 shots by the Flyers. And I do think Igor saves them all. I would rather take, not Igor, Sorokin. I'd rather take Sorokin for the shutout than I would for his save shots. Now, Sorokin did get the shutout versus the Vegas Golden Knights just a couple of weeks ago, or just a week ago, maybe even. And that was his 20th shutout of his career. So really hard to get shutouts in back-to-back weeks, but it definitely could happen against this Flyers team who is off the loss versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. That one went to a shootout, though. They were able to put up 2 goals, 3-2 loss out there on the road. They're at the Devils on Saturday, and we do have the Isles off the loss to the Senators. They got shut out. Their urgency in the first period should be there to score on urgent right out of the gate. They're versus the Sharks at home on Saturday. This team has struggled at home, 7-10-2 on the season. They are sitting 8th in the Metro, but I'm willing to lay the Isles here on the money line. With this juice ticking up, you guys, I love that puck line. I freaking love the puck line tonight. -1.5 on the puck line for the Isles at +168. I think they win this 2-0, 3-1 style game here. So the under. Strong trends to that under, but again, I just want to take the Flyers team total because what if the Flyers come out here and the Isles come out and hit the Flyers hard and get those goals on urgent. Sorokin's a goaltender I trust in, but the under strong trends, 5-1 in the last 6 meetings, 6-2 in the last 8 meetings in New York to that under. So Flyers team total under 2.5. The Isles. First period money line. I like the game money line again, juice ticking up, and I freaking love the puck line laying a half a goal or 1.5 goals at +186. Okay, let's jump on to the next one. You jumped on Edmonton at +175. I freaking love it. I love when you guys watch these games, jump on those live numbers. It's exactly what I'm looking for. I love the fact that I get to do all these in-game live shows with SportsGrid, and we get to talk these because before doing those in-game live shows, I was never concentrated so hard on those numbers. And I tell you, you guys, if you go in with the plan where you want to look and where you want to target a team, if you see that line movement, it's absolutely beautiful. The overreaction to the books is insane. I am so happy for you, Irish King, again, hitting that parlay. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I love to hear you guys cashing. Let me know what you've cashed on lately, you guys. We're going to look at the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Nashville Predators. Now, this is one that I think can go over that total. Total 5.5, -132 to the over, +108 to the under. I do think the Blackhawks can get a couple goals, and I think the Predators dominate in this game, get at least 4 or 5 goals in the back of the net themselves. So if you want to look here at an total of 6.5, I don't blame you. Instead of laying the juice over 5.5, I'm expecting a lot of goals. Now, the Predators are almost a $3 favorite. You guys know I don't want anything to do with that. Not even that puck line, even though I think it will be a solid way to go. I will look at the first period over 1.5 goals between these two teams. That's coming in at -120. I do think Chicago can get a goal in that first period on Saros. We know he's not bulletproof out there, and the Nashville Predators should be able to score on Peter Mrazek. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks have struggled in Nashville. They've only won 8 of the last 28 meetings here. The Nashville Predators have been strong in certain situations, right? They're off that win versus Vegas. They should bring that momentum into this game. They were able to win 5-3 versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So Chicago is on a losing streak. They're going to want to come in here, try to get up in that first period. So over 1.5 goals in the first period. We know the Predators can do it. I trust in the Blackhawks to be able to do it too at -120. So both teams to score in the first period only makes sense. That's where the plus money is. That's coming in at plus 188. I definitely will go there. Now, the last time these teams met up, we did see the Preds win that 3-2 style game back in October. This game could start off hot and then really the defensive lockdowns in the second period. So I'm not going to play around with this total, but I expect it to, again, go over 6.5, like I said. But it's the first period where I love the most. The first period, over 1.5 goals and both teams to score. I'm going to look at Philip Forsberg to come out and get that anytime goal here for the Nashville Predators. That's coming in right around plus 175. 12 goals and 37 points on the season for him. If you want to look at Connor Bedard, we missed Connor Bedard for his 100th point in that game on Monday. I think Connor Bedard keeps rolling hot in this game out here tonight. And then you got to look at Taylor Hall, you guys. So I don't know if you saw the clips of Taylor Hall as of late. Taylor Hall, very honest about his future with the Chicago Blackhawks, saying that at the end of the day, it is a business and he knows they will make the right decision for themselves and that they have to put themselves first. So Taylor Hall saying that he's just going to come out, continue to play his best hockey. Uncertain where his future lies with the Chicago Blackhawks is an uneasy situation. Look for Taylor Hall to really step up. Look for Tyler Bertuzzi to really step up as well. Taylor Hall, let's look at him for the anytime goal. You guys, you got to love these storylines and you got to love these players that are being brutally honest out there with how things are looking for their future. You've got to remember these players have their lives invested in the city and where they're playing, and he thought his future would be a couple more years here with Chicago, and now he's uncertain. So Taylor Hall to come out and get the anytime goals coming in at plus 450. I just want to look at him for his points as well. Hall, we do not have listed for points today on FanDuel, but if you can get points on your book, I would look at him for 2+ points. We can get Bertuzzi for 2+ points at plus 750, but I want Taylor Hall tonight with everything that he has been talking about. So that's where I'd be going, you guys. And then Philip Forsberg here for the Nashville Predators. If you want to look at Steven Stamkos, I don't blame you there either. Let's move on to the Montreal Canadiens. They are taking on the Dallas Stars. Now, Dallas minus 225 here on the money line versus a scrappy Montreal Canadiens team that's rolling in at plus 184. Total of 5.5, minus 134 to the over and plus 110 to the under. Okay, we're going to play this. We're going to live bet this game. One thing to note is that we've seen Montreal in their last 4 first periods out there on the road lose those first periods. I think we have a barking dog, a team that can keep this tight. We look at the Montreal Canadiens and all of the upsets they've been able to pull off. The underdogs covered the puck line in the last 13 games here for Montreal. Montreal's been the underdog the majority of the time. We know that. This is a 1-goal game either way. If the Dallas Stars go up first, I'll be coming back in hard on Montreal plus the 1.5 with the value. Right now, plus 1.5 live or pregame bet is minus 122 for the Montreal Canadiens. The money line is plus 210. I'm going to put a quarter unit right now on Montreal plus 1.5 at minus 122. And I put a quarter unit on Montreal money line at plus 210. Once this game kicks off, if the Dallas Stars come out and score first, I'm going to come back in on Montreal plus 1.5. That should be at that point plus 150. And then back on the money line, which should be over plus 300. So that is where I'm going to live bet. I'm going to put the other quarter unit. So at the end of the day, I'll have a full unit on Montreal, but I just want to play around with how I'm doing that. Now, for the full game, I absolutely think they can get the win. We look at the Dallas Stars. They are their first game home off a road trip. This is a perfect sandwich spot for them. First game home off of a 5-game road trip, successful road trip. They went 4-1 on that road trip. One game was an overtime win. One game was a shootout overtime win. So in those 5 games, 2 games, they had to play extra periods. And then in their last 6 games, 3 games, they've had to play extra periods. This is going to be a tired team returning home here. And then you look at the look-ahead spot. They have the Colorado Avs on Saturday. So, and then they're home on Sunday versus the Red Wings. So they return home off a 5-game road trip, 4-1 on the road trip, 3 of their last 6 games have gone to overtime. They're home for this one game here versus a Montreal Canadiens team that's sitting 6th in the Atlantic. Then they head back out on the road Saturday versus Colorado, and then back home Sunday versus the Red Wings. This is a perfect situation that we love to look at the dog. Quarter unit on the puck line going into the game for Montreal, quarter unit on the money line for Montreal. If Dallas goes up first, I'll come back in on the other quarter unit, money line and puck line at that point for the Montreal Canadiens. This should be a great game. And if Montreal is able to pull off this win, it will come down to Caulfield. You guys know how strong he has been as of late. In 3 of his last 5 games, able to record multi-points out there on the board. Now, FanDuel has the 2+ points locked up currently for Caulfield, but I expect it to come in this one. You should get great plus money, at least plus 320. His anytime goal at plus 190, I will be hitting on as well tonight. Could he come out and get 2 goals? Absolutely. I do think he is worth a look for 2 goals, so let's just pull that up right now. I just think Dallas is in an awful situation, so 2 goals for Caulfield at plus 1,400. Sign me up. It is definitely worth a sprinkle for me on this player here tonight. The last time these teams played, Dallas did win 2-1 just on the 11th. It was just last week, you guys. Jake Ottinger expected here for Dallas. Montreal, again, will be starting Sam Montague. They're off the win on Tuesday versus the Utah Hockey Club, 5-3. So they're coming up against a stronger defense here. They're going to have to really dig deep in this matchup to be able to get the win. But I think they have every freaking ability to get it done. You went pucking crazy with an anytime goal parlay. I absolutely love it, Larry. Great players you're looking at there. Jake Neighbors. You got to love Jake Neighbors and what he's been able to do for the St. Louis Blues. Which Hughes brothers are you playing on, Luke, Jack, or Quinn Hughes? Let us know which Hughes brothers in that one. Okay, talk to Montreal. We got to move on to the Calgary Flames. Larry throwing out Jake Neighbors for that anytime goal. And how can you not? Jake Neighbors is so strong. In front of that net, he gets those gritty goals. He digs really deep for the St. Louis Blues. You got Kyrou over there and Robert Thomas as well. So looking at lines, total 5.5. We just saw this matchup on Tuesday. The St. Louis Blues got that low-scoring win. 5.5 is too high still. We're going to take it under 5.5 at minus 102. We're going to ult it again. We ulted it last time. We got 4 goals. I believe it was 3-1, right? 3-1 win for the St. Louis Blues. No, actually, it was a 2-1 win for the St. Louis Blues. So we easily got the under 4.5. I'm going to ult this one under 4.5 again. Goaltending matchup tonight, Jordan Binnington versus Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf, I have more faith in than I do in Dan Vladar. I'm looking for a highly defensive battle between these two teams. The under 4.5 is going to get you great plus money as well, you guys. Now, the St. Louis Blues probably get the win again. They're minus 134 on the money line. They've won their last 6 games as a favorite versus Calgary. You always want to look at that sudden payback situation. I'm just not sure if Calgary is able to do it. They're at the Jets on Saturday, home on Thursday versus the Sabres. They're at the Wild next Saturday, and then the Jets again on Sunday. So pretty hard schedule, sitting 4th in the Pacific. I really thought this team would be, 7th in the Pacific this season, even though they're my team. They turned over a lot of veteran players and have a lot of youth out there. So we have 2 games on the road loading for the St. Louis Blues. They're at Utah on Saturday and at Vegas on Monday. If it was Vegas on their next game, it might be a look ahead, but I do think they should be able to come out strong. Now, one thing to note with the St. Louis Blues, they kind of made trading back home wins and losses. They've lost their last 6 games at home following a win. So it's a hard case to really back them, especially laying juice. I just think the under is the best way to go, and I don't want to bet aside. Jack Hughes in that, Larry. I like where you're going with Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes for the New Jersey Devils tonight should be a good look. Let's look at the Seattle Kraken. They're taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Now the Winnipeg Jets coming in at minus 230. I tell you, Kyle Connor screwing up our under in that last game versus the Vancouver Canucks. He got a hat trick in the first period. My mind was just completely blown with what Kyle Connor was doing out there on the ice. They ended up getting a 6-1 win over the Vancouver Canucks. And now they're at home taking on a Seattle Kraken team whose defense has been falling apart. Joey Daccord has not looked strong in goal. And they're a minus 230 favorite here, plus 188 for the Seattle Kraken. Now, total is sitting at 5.5, minus 124 to the under, plus 102 to the over. I kind of worry about this one, looking at the total, that we could see the Winnipeg Jets get enough goals to push this one, 5-1 game. That pushes us over the total. If Connor Hellebuck gives up any goals, now, their power play's elite here for the Jets. You can look at the power play points. The kill isn't great here for the Seattle Kraken. They've also been allowing, 28.5 shots on goal per game. I don't trust Joey Daccord, even though his numbers look pretty solid, a .914 save percentage. I still think against the best power play in the league, a team that's averaging 3.6 goals per game, we're going to see those struggles. And the Kraken have struggled in Winnipeg, losing for their last 5 meetings in Winnipeg. I do think that even though we've seen that type matchup the last time between these two, that it just won't be that way this time. Because the last time they matched up in October, the Jets squeaked out a 4-3 win. I'm looking at this one for the Winnipeg Jets to go up so strong in the first period. I look for them to cover the puck line in the first period, laying that half a goal. I'm going to look at Mark Scheifele to come out, be able to get the assist on the board tonight. I do think he comes out nice and strong. Kyle Connor, you can look at for his points as well. I'd look at 2+ points. The last time Mark Scheifele hit the ice versus the Seattle Kraken, he was able to get 2 assists on the board. You could also look at Josh Morrissey. I do think he has success. He's got, 34 assists on the season. So Josh Morrissey, Mark Scheifele, and Kyle Connor, parlay them for their points tonight, you guys. And I know the Kraken can dig deep, and this is a team that fights their way. Jared McCann has been strong, but they've gone 2-8 in the last 10 meetings versus the Winnipeg Jets. And I think the Jets are just at that different level right now. First in the Central, 7th in the Pacific here for the Seattle Kraken. And the Kraken are just struggling to score. And I don't think it's going to get any easier tonight on Connor Hellebuck. Let's look at the next game here, you guys, with the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers taking on the Utah Hockey Club. Now, Utah's lost their last 2. Tuesday, they lost that game to Montreal at home, 5-3. They're still at home for this one. We have the Rangers off that loss to the Colorado Avalanche, but they put up more of a fight in that game than I expected. They lost in overtime 3-2. I expected Colorado to get up in the first period off the loss, but the Rangers were able to get a goal in that first period as well. So if you bet the both teams to score, which I didn't, I took Colorado on the puck line in the first period. If you bet both teams to score, you cash there, but I lost my bet on that one, and I'm looking for the Rangers in this game to come out strong defensively. And I'm going to bet Utah's team total under, as long as it's Igor Shesterkin in net. With Igor Shesterkin in net tonight, you guys, and we don't have full confirmation yet, I will take Utah's team total under 2.5 goals. We're getting great plus money at plus 128. The last time these teams matched up, we saw complete chaos, complete pond hockey, with the Utah Hockey Club getting that 6-5 win. I don't think it plays out that way as long as it's Igor tonight. If Igor is in net, 3-1 win. 4-1 win here for the New York Rangers. So you can play around with that. Wait for confirmation of Igor Shesterkin. Without Igor Shesterkin in goal, I'm staying away from this game. I want nothing to do of it. I'll wash my hands of it, and I won't even tune in. Okay, I will. I'll tune in and watch the highlights and see how this game really did go down, because I love watching those highlights. But I do think Utah struggles to score. I'll take Utah's team total. Vejmelka is expected here for the Utah Hockey Club. The Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche, a game a lot of people will be looking forward to tonight. The Avs, a slight favorite at home at minus 118, minus 102 here for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this total is sitting at a 6.5. And I know a lot of people struggle to take an under, especially with two teams like this. And these two teams can bring that firepower offensively. They are just juggernauts out there on the ice. They're firing at will. Edmonton tries to lock down defensively, and we know Colorado with Mackenzie Blackwood in goal has been a lot stronger in net, and their defense has been locking down as well. I think this one starts off hot right out of the gate. I'm not touching the full game total. I'm going to take the over 1.5 in the first period. That's at minus 126. And both teams to score in the first period at plus 164. We know the Oilers love to come out hot, get the lead, and lock down. Colorado is very similar, you guys. And this is going to be Nathan McKinnon, Nate Dogg out there. He's so competitive on the ice versus Connor McDavid. So Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, give me both of them for a goal tonight. Give me both of them for 2+ points tonight, but I'm going to stay off the full game total. I do think they can get the points, get the goals, and this one still stay under that total. I really do have faith in that. So, but I don't want to touch it because if things open up, if we see that back and forth pond hockey, we know Edmonton, you've seen some of these games, actually both of these teams, where you've seen a couple of goals within minutes. So even though defenses can lock down, even though goaltending can stand tall, we could see those goals or we could see that defensive battle. So Skinner expected tonight with Connor Pickard starting last night for Edmonton. So Edmonton's on their second night of a back-to-back. They got the win versus the Wild last night, 5-3. Crazy first period. We saw 2 goals out of both of those teams in the first period last night. Edmonton has the Canucks on deck on Saturday. And then when we look at Colorado, they're off that low-scoring win versus the New York Rangers. They were not able to get up in that first period with both of those teams scoring in the first period, 3-2. Overtime win. They've scored 3 or more goals in 7 of their last 10 games. So this is a team that Edmonton will need to bring their A game, really locking down. Now, I think if you don't love both teams to score in the first period or the over 1.5 goals in the first period, a couple other ways you could look is the Avs just to win this at home. They are, again, this line has moved, actually, -118. It was -125 earlier in the day. I think the Avs do win this. I also would look at the Avs team total over 3.5 goals at +130. I think if the Avs win this, they win this 4-2 or 4-3 versus the Edmonton Oilers. So that is where I'm going. Now, we missed Cale Makar for his 50th point in his last game out. He has been rolling absolutely hot. And then Nathan McKinnon reached 70 points in his last game as well. First player in the league to reach 70 points, Nathan McKinnon. He's just absolutely on fire this season. So those are the couple ways I would look at this game. Now, the next game, I expect that lockdown defensively. We have the LA Kings taking on the Vancouver Canucks. The Kings and the Canucks are a straight pick of -110. We have seen movement in this. It did open as the King, as a slight dog. You're still having to lay a little bit of juice on that money line at -102 on the money line, but we have seen that parity now, both -110. Total of 5.5. This is a line you've got to lay the juice to the under 5.5, and I absolutely hate that at -142, but I do think it's the way we go. I would hold this to under 4.5 as well. I think we've got a very low scoring game here. Darcy Kemper versus Demko. Now we know Vancouver struggles at home. I can't trust this team at home. And I do like the LA Kings to finish off this road trip strong. They've lost their last 2 Monday night to the Oilers 1-0. That lone goal coming in the second period by who else but Connor McDavid on his birthday. Missed. It was his goal. It was his birthday out there. So anyone who had that, congratulations to you. Now, LA will be at Seattle on Saturday to end this 5-game road trip. I think they end up very strong out here, sitting third in the Pacific. So give me the Kings money line to finish up the road strong. They are 5-2 in the last 7 meetings versus the Vancouver Canucks, and we look at the road team going 4-1 in the last 5. So it's going to be a tight game, 2-1 style game, keeping us under the old total of 4.5, you guys. Yeah, you got to love the Kings tonight. The Kings should come out nice and freaking strong. But you guys, we're going to get into that recap. If you guys can hit that like button, hit that retweet button, I would greatly appreciate it if you're watching over on YouTube. If you hit that subscribe button, it definitely would be a nice Thursday for you guys to do so. So let's get into that recap. We're sitting right at the 44-minute mark almost here, and we got some great games on the ice. So take what you like. Let me know what you're fading, what you're following out there, and let's make some freaking money. That's the whole goal. Let's just make some freaking money out there on the ice. So we're going to kick it off with the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, 7 o'clock. I'm looking at Andrei Vasilevskiy to really lock down on the Ducks. The Ducks team total under 2.5. The book's expecting it as well. It's -144. If you're willing to lay that juice, I don't blame you. I think it's a very strong way to go here on the Ducks. Now, I will look at the Tampa Bay Lightning first period puck line, laying a half a goal at plus 104. I do think they cover the puck line for the full game. The problem is it's just juiced at minus 120. Nikita Kucherov and Jake Gunsel will be your playmakers here for the Tampa Bay Lightning that adds circle. And then Troy Terry for the Anaheim Ducks. But again, low scoring game for the Ducks. So I would be cautious with that number. The San Jose Sharks versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. I freaking love Columbus's team total over 3.5 goals at minus 108 here at home. I do think they probably win and cover the puck line here versus the San Jose Sharks in this matchup today. The Washington Capitals taking on the Ottawa Senators. Give me the Caps to come out strong in that first period, covering the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal at plus 186. Let's get in and let's get out of this game. I'm going to look at Ovechkin for the anytime goal at plus 140. He has now 20 goals and 12 assists on the season. You can look at Dylan Strome as well. The Detroit Red Wings versus the Florida Panthers. I'm smelling an upset, at least in the first period. Give me the Red Wings first period money line at plus 172. The Florida Panthers have struggled off of overtime in the first period, losing their last 4, and they're coming off a shootout win in their last game versus the New Jersey Devils 2-1. So big, hard, physical game. Now coming in, taking on a Red Wings team that was rolling hot until the Sharks stepped in front of that winning streak. Look for the Red Wings to bring it tonight in Florida. It should be a great one. I think that first period, you could see go over 1.5 goals as well if you'd rather take that way. The New Jersey Devils and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto loves to be underestimated. Give me the Leafs at plus 110 here on the money line. Movement has come in on the money line in this. The Leafs have won the last 4 as a dog versus the New Jersey Devils. And the Devils, Jacob Markstrom has struggled this season versus the Leafs. I expect the Leafs to put up the goals. If you just want to look at their team total over 3.5, I definitely think it cashes as well. The Philadelphia Flyers versus the New York Islanders. I'm big on the Isles tonight. I think they win and cover the puck line. The Isles laying a goal and a half, coming in at plus 186 for the full game. The Isles at home, the juice is ticking up. It's now minus 137, was minus 130 earlier in the day. I do think the Flyers team total stays under 2.5. That's coming in at plus 100. The Chicago Blackhawks and the Nashville Predators. Give me both teams to score in the first period. Over 1.5 goals as well. So the over 1.5 goals first period at minus 120, both teams to score at plus 188. Give me Philip Forsberg here for the anytime goal for the Predators. And when we talk about the Chicago Blackhawks and talk about Taylor Hall, you got to look at him for the anytime goal or his points tonight. He's been very outspoken about the fact that he does not know his future with Chicago. Hard spot for him. He said a business is a business and they'll do what's best for them. Until then, he's just going to come out and play his best hockey. So a player coming out so honest about that, you know that he is eager to prove himself here in Chicago. Give me Taylor Hall for the anytime goal at plus 450. And his 2+ points if you can get it. Again, not on FanDuel, but you can find it on other books at like plus 560. Montreal versus the Dallas Stars. The Montreal Canadiens are in a perfect spot to get the upset with the Dallas Stars returning home off a successful road trip. They went 4-1 on that road trip, and now they're home for one game, and then they head out on the road versus the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday, back home versus the Red Wings on Sunday. This game is a sandwich spot where we love to back the dogs. Again, I will put a quarter unit on Montreal puck line right now. I'll put a quarter unit on Montreal money line right now. Reason why I'm doing that is Montreal has struggled in the first period out there on the road, and the Dallas Stars could win that first period. And then we're going to be able to come back and live bet Montreal on the puck line and the money line with more value at that point. So then I'll put the quarter unit back in, reinvest on the same bet that I have at better value. So that is where I'm going in this game, you guys. If you just want to put a half a unit on both to start this game, I don't blame you, but I will play around. I'll be watching this game anyway. I'm going to look at Cole Caulfield for 2+ points tonight. Cole Caulfield for the goal at plus 190, 2+ goals at plus 1,400. I think he comes out nice and strong in this one. Remember, 3 of his last 5 games, he has been able to get those multi-points. And yeah, when we look at Montreal, they've lost the last 4 first periods on the road. So it's been a struggle in that first period, and that's the situation that we want. This team will not stop fighting out there on the ice. The Calgary Flames versus St. Louis Blues. Again, total 5.5. We just saw this matchup. St. Louis got that 2-1 win. We ulted it under 4.5. We're going right back to the well. Give me the under 4.5 here. Alt numbers so that I'm getting plus money on Calgary versus the St. Louis Blues. Right now, I don't want to jump on a side. I don't see any value. If one team goes up 2-0, I will be coming back in on the dog plus 1.5. The Seattle Kraken taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Get me in and out of the first period. Give me the Winnipeg Jets first period, laying a half a goal at plus 180 on that puck line. I do think Seattle has too many struggles to score out there, and the Winnipeg Jets will come out strong right away. I'm going to look up Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey, and Kyle Connor for their points. Parlay those together. The New York Rangers and the Utah Hockey Club. As long as it's Igor Shesterkin in goal, you guys, give me Utah's team total. Utah's team total under 2.5 goals at plus 128. I do think Igor should stand tall between the pipes tonight for the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers have won their last 8 games on the road as a favorite following overtime. So they're off that overtime loss to the Colorado Avalanche. Look for them to really lock down Utah in this game. But again, this will only be bet if it's Igor Shesterkin in goal. I think if it's Igor, it's a 3-1 win or 4-1 win here for the New York Rangers. So if it's Igor, you could also come in on the Rangers on the puck line, laying 1.5 goals for great plus money. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Colorado Avalanche. I do think the Avs ultimately can get the win here at home. It's minus 118-ish, minus 120-ish here for Colorado. Their team total over 3.5 goals will put you at plus 130. I like both teams to score as well in the first period. Both teams to score in the first period at plus 164. First period over 1.5 goals at minus 126. Look for both of these teams to fight in that first period, eager to get up on the other, and then them try to have that defensive lockdown. So I do think it could play out that way. Nathan MacKinnon versus Connor McDavid. That is where you're going to see that big rivalry. Both of these guys so competitive out there on the ice. Nathan MacKinnon probably the most competitive. We know Connor McDavid, how he brings it in these games. So I do think you've got a great matchup. Cale Makar as well has been phenomenally hot, but Nathan MacKinnon, first player to 70 points. So he has already won that over Connor McDavid. You know, they keep track of that themselves. And then the LA Kings versus the Vancouver Canucks. Another game I think you can alt under. The books have the under 5.5. It's juicy, minus like 130, minus 140-ish mark. I would ult it to under 4.5 goals. I do think 2-1 style win here for the LA Kings. The Kings get the win on the road. Again, this line has moved to minus 110. You're not going to have to lay the juice anymore with the Kings, which you did at one point. So it's interesting. So this line has gone from the Kings yesterday, they were a slight dog, to the Kings at one point this morning being a slight favorite at minus 120 to back to minus 110. So the line has jumped all over the place with money moving things, but the Kings have won 5 of the last 7 meetings versus Vancouver. And this team needs to get back on track. They've lost their last 2. They need to finish this road trip strong. They got 1 more on the road versus the Seattle Kraken. So that is where I'm going to go. You guys, thank you so much for being here today. If you want to build that long shot parlay, we can quickly run through it. So anyone who doesn't like building long shot parlays, nothing else will be added today. So I will just build that parlay for everyone who wants to look at it today. And then otherwise, we are done. So first game I'm going to look at for the long shot parlay, I'm going to look at Ovi for his point tonight for the Washington Capitals. You know, Ovechkin has to come out nice and strong. When we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, I do think we're going to see their playmakers coming out strong. Now, Nikita Kucherov, I can't even throw in the parlay. He's minus 700 for the anytime point. Jake Gunsel, Braden Point, they're all so highly juiced, you guys. Let's see if there's anyone further down the list. You know, I shake my head at what we see on these lines. It just becomes unbettable. When you start looking at the players here for the Ducks, you have so much more value. Like I do think Leo Carlson, Troy Terry, and Ryan Strome, they have the ability to get those points. I'm going to leave that game off the board. There's just not enough value for those players to get those points, even to throw it into a parlay. Now, Adam Fantilli here for a goal is for Columbus plus 750. Adam Fantilli for the point at minus 148. for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'll throw that into my parlay. I'm going to stay off the Sharks. The Isles and the Flyers, I really do believe in the points here for the Islanders. I'm going to look at Anders Lee. As long as I'm getting value with Anders Lee here. Yeah, he's minus 150. I think Anders Lee is a nice way to look for the Isles tonight. I'm going to stay off Calgary and the St. Louis Blues. Chicago and the Predators, we have to go there with this one. Again, Taylor Hall, I would look at outside of this parlay for his points for sure tonight. They're not giving us the points here on FanDuel. I'll put Philip Forsberg in for the the Nashville Predators and Connor Bedard here. Actually, I don't want Connor Bedard. I want Teravainen here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Montreal versus Dallas, we're throwing Cole Caulfield in there for his points for the Montreal Canadiens. He's minus 138 for a point tonight, you guys. So not as highly juiced as I would have thought. And then Edmonton and Colorado. Connor McDavid is plus 460. Nathan McKinnon minus 520. I can't touch either of them inside the parlay. It's just too highly juiced. So we have a 6-leg same game parlay coming in at plus 2025. I love it, you guys. We're going to look at Forsberg for the Predators for the point, Teravainen for the Chicago Blackhawks for the point, Ovechkin for a point for Washington, Adam Fantilli for the point for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Anders Lee for a point for the Isles, and Cole Caulfield for the point for the Montreal Canadiens. So again, Cole Caulfield, Anders Lee, Adam Fantilli, Alex Ovechkin, Teravainen, Forsberg, all for a point tonight at plus 2025 over there on FanDuel. $1 returns 2026. So your $10 parlay bet returning $200. Fade or follow. Let me know which leg you think is going to crush this parlay. If it's Ovechkin, I tell you, I'll be screaming at the TV because I absolutely love Ovechkin to come out nice and strong. Again, goal scorers, players that I really want to circle tonight. Ovechkin for his anytime goal. Ovechkin for 2+ points as well. I also want to look at Taylor Hall because of everything that's happening with him in the media for the Chicago Blackhawks. I want to look at Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield for the goal. Cole Caulfield for 2+ goals. Cole Caulfield plus 2+ points for Montreal versus the Dallas Stars. I do think he comes in nice and hard in this one. So you guys, that is where Victor Hedman for Rich. I don't blame you. Victor Hedman is a beast out there on the ice. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here today for Puck It with Jo on SportsGrid, on SportsGrid TV, on X. We will be back tomorrow at noon Eastern. I haven't even looked at how many games we have on the slate tomorrow, but I'm guessing we have a lighter day out there. It is Friday. You guys know the always Freaky Fridays. We've only got 2 games tomorrow, you guys. Tomorrow we'll see the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Carolina Hurricanes and the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Buffalo Sabres. First looks at that, we have the Vegas and Canes under 5.5 is plus 114 currently. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus Buffalo Sabres, the over 6.5 up plus 100. Right away, out of the gate, the Penguins versus the Sabres, you know where I'm going. If you guys know me well enough, you know I'm taking the first period over 1.5 goals and both teams to score in the first period. Both of these teams get so hungry in that first period. The defenses and the goaltending have those lapses and they get off to a hot start. So that is where I'd be going with those games if you're looking to get some early action in on tomorrow's bets. But you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you join me back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. We'll go over those 2 games. We'll see which one of these dogs is barking, because on a Friday, anything can freaking happen out there on the ice. But it will be Saturday's slate that will be a focal point for us. So noon Saturday, I will be back here noon every day here on SportsGrid TV on X. Again, if you guys can hit that like button, if you can hit that retweet button, and if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. My Cup of Joe will be out here shortly. We are rolling hot in college basketball right now. I have another college basketball bet for you on the Cup of Joe. Yesterday, we were able to get Michigan State's team total over 82.5. So nice cash on that one. And yeah, that's where we're going, you guys. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Steve, I'm sorry you missed the show. I will post the time for that recap right away here so you guys can jump back to that recap. But again, you guys rock. Thank you for being here each and every day. See you back here tomorrow. let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some